All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Hakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing this word in true sincerity. All right, this is the brother Tawab Bakar from GMS Los Angeles / Inland Empire. Come back with another video in the spirit. And once again, Tawadi Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai for opening my eyes to his truth. Allow me to wake up another day and putting the spirit on me to do another lesson in hopes to edify the hopeful elect. Okay, so in this video, what I want to go into, the spirit has begun on, that inward man, that inner man, and I just wanted to put this out there real quick, just to, land back on that spirit, as we, and I'm referring to the believers, us that believe on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, it's very, very important to have rule over our spirit. It's very, very important to, be mindful, of these individuals out here in this world, these spirits out here, because there's a lot of things out in this world that can, be a detriment to our faith. And you have a lot of people out here with all sorts of spirits on them, and these demons that's on these people out here, they could be looked at as obstacles, because you got people out here that, they like to agitate people. They try to get people to lose their cool, and us brothers that's in this truth, we gotta be in the spirit and recognize these things when these things occur, because if we allow these demons, these individuals out here, or not even just these different individuals, it could be, you drawn away from by your own lust, it's just, it's just important just to be in the spirit, especially, as the days come and go, as we get closer and closer to the end, things are going to get more intense. Okay, and this is why scriptures, which, I'm going to bring out a few scriptures. These scriptures are written for our learning, for us to apply these things so we don't find ourselves in a deep hole, because it's already, we already on the straight gate. We're already in the going down that narrow path. Why make it more difficult? Because you get agitated, or you allow the words or emotions of others dictate how you conduct yourself, or how the actions you choose to put forth. Because every action is going to be crucial in these times that we're in. So it's very, very important to be mindful of these things. So I'm not going to ramble on any further. I'm just going to bring out the few scriptures, and I pray this is edifying to you, sincere brothers, as well as you few sisters. So the first scripture I'm going to start with is Colossians chapter 4, verse 5. It says, "Walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time." Okay? And those that are without, referring to those, especially our people, those that don't have this truth. Okay? Those are people that's in the world, as well as these other nations. Okay? When you're around these people in the world, we got to apply wisdom. Okay? When we out and about amongst these people, it's best to, keep a low profile. You know, don't do anything. Don't do anything that's gonna, give you unnecessary attention. Don't be out here causing unnecessary attention to yourself. Or doing things that that could leave a blemish on the congregation, blemish on this ministry, this service that we're doing. Because that's why we gotta look at things from a broader perspective, a bigger picture. Because anything we do in this world, it might be micro, because it's just us, but really it affects. It has a enormous effect because if we out here doing something that's contrary to what we out here speaking, or go out there and preach, it's gonna make the ministry look bad. Okay, and this is why we, starting with our apostles elders on down here at Great Millstone, we get on these other camps because a lot of these things that they go out there and do and speak, teach, is contrary to what we've learned and what we've been taught, and they're making the ministry, the Hebrew Israelite ministry, look bad, but we understand, it's all prophecy. We understand that, there's going to be false prophets. There's going to be these sellouts out here that's going to be leading the people astray. But we have to warn our people anyway. We have to warn them whether they hear or whether they forbear. Okay, but the point is, getting back to the scripture, it says to walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time. You gotta know what times you in. You gotta know what times. The refrain from speaking. Is a time for everything, as it tells us in Ecclesiastes. Okay, but the point is, when we out and about amongst these people, just behave wisely. Okay. All right. 6th verse, it says, "Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer every man." And see, this comes through experience. Okay, because there are certain situations where you're going to have to give a soft answer. Okay, even there's times when we out there, brothers may cuss out certain individuals. Okay, but there are times, especially when we in our day-to-day walk, where you at work, or you out running errands, or you working out, whatever it is that you may be doing, there are ways to go about dealing with situations when they arise. Okay, you might have you may have an individual that may approach you in a hostile manner, and if that individual tries to get physical, every brother has the right to defend themselves. Okay, and there are situations where the individual may come hostile, but it's just verbal, it's just words. So things may get heated, may be back and forth, but there are instructions in this word, in the scriptures, to let us know how to go about dealing with things that that if things may get to that point. Okay, and this is where this scripture comes into play. Okay, when you season, you have got some experience under your belt, you're able to navigate these situations wisely. Okay, you're not going to add fuel to the fire, because you understand, at the end of the day, getting in a physical altercation, over words is foolish at the end of the day, and we're not here to be on that in that spirit of being carnal, okay? Because what does the scripture say? Carnal mind is enmity with the Most High, and it leads to death, okay? Because you can get in a verbal altercation with somebody, and then it can lead to a physical altercation, and that person may not want to get physical. That person may have a weapon on them, and a lot of these people out here, they got, like I said, they got demons on them. So you got people out here looking for trouble just because they're in that murder spirit, So that's the reason why, we gotta be wise and be spiritual, okay? To be able to, discern those things, okay? Let me get this individual is looking for trouble, so you don't want to escalate the situation, you want to de-escalate, okay? So I'm just, speaking on this because, these situations do happen, and if you're a brother that may be new to the faith, and you may not have dealt with a situation like this, or you may have, and you may not know what to do. These are why these scriptures are written, and this is why we do these lessons, brothers that have dealt with these situations, that's able to give brothers counsel on dealing with these kind of matters, okay? Because you don't want to be that guy that's always getting into altercations, and and every time you find yourself in a situation, you're always making carnal decisions and not spiritual decisions. All right. Okay, I got another one. This is Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1. So it says, a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. And that's what you have to do in certain situations. You have to give a soft answer. As hard as it may be, it's easier said than done, But this is why these scriptures are written. This is for our benefit, because like I said, you got individuals out here. They're looking for trouble. Misery loves company. Okay, so when you around, or not around, but when you out and about and somebody comes around you, and you can feel that vibe off of them, it's better to go the opposite direction. Just to avoid, what can potentially be something that can bring you physical harm, or can land you in prison or jail. Because you go out there, unless you defend yourself, that's different. But if you just go out there and beat the shit out of somebody because they said some words towards you, that's not good, man. We gotta have I'm not speaking about anybody in particular, I'm just putting this out there. We gotta have control over our emotions, especially with these people out here, man, because these people out here, they don't give a damn. They'll keep try to egg you on and do some carnal shit, but really it's Satan on them to tempt you, but when you're in the spirit, you walk in the spirit, and you acknowledge it, you recognize it, you're able to make a wise choice, to avoid the escalating the situation, man. And like I said, this is I'm just giving an example, on dealing with somebody just talking shit, but this can go for a multitude of things, man. Slocky, I'm back. Yeah, like I was saying, it could be you being drawn away from by your own lust. You may want to go see, get your shit off, go see a broad, but are you willing to risk your your life to go to get a piece of box, are you willing to, go through all sort of trouble just to, do wherever that the desire is, you know, especially if it's not wise to, because sometimes it's not wise to go out at certain times, but that's where the spirit come in. That's when the discernment kick in. Sometimes you can be like, you know what, I'm gonna fall back. It ain't worth it. I'm gonna fall back. And then there's times where, you know what, I think I'll be cool. And always pray on it. Pray to the Lord. Pray Yahweh Shem Shai. You know, that's the main thing. That's the first foremost. You gotta pray. And there's times when the spirit will let you know, like, nah, this ain't the time, fall back. Or the spirit will be like, all right, everything's cool, But the point is, me, doing this lesson that I want to convey to you sincere brothers out there, as well as you sisters, but mainly you brothers, always, lean toward the spirit, man. Okay. If something don't feel right, you get that, what they call intuition. That's the spirit speaking. Okay. When you feel something's off, or, you don't think you should be doing something, then don't do it. Follow the spirit. Okay. Because the spirit if you paying attention, if you walking in the spirit gonna let you know, what you should do, But anyway, I'm gonna bring out one more scripture and I'm gonna wrap it up. All right. This is Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21. It says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. You see that? And see, a lot of these, if you notice, a lot of these rappers, especially the rappers of this generation, a lot of these guys are dropping dead. A lot of these guys are getting murdered there, or they murdering one another. Okay? You always have rappers that, going back to, with the Tupac, the Biggies, and whatnot. But now it's like damn near every month, it's like a rapper is getting shot and killed, or they dying from, these drugs. They ODing on these drugs. Okay? So that's that whole hip hop culture. That's death. That's all they speak about is death. It says, and I just read, death and life are in the power of the tongue. So if you out here, being reckless with the tongue, that can lead to your demise, man. That can lead to our demise if we not checking ourselves, because like I said, you got people out here that's looking for that kind of interaction with somebody, because they got that demon on them. They just looking for blood. They like a shark, out for blood, and we don't want to give them that, we don't want to be that bait for that shark, because, like I said, these people got all sorts of spirits on them, so it's best to be, like Yahweh Shai told us, man, and to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves, man. Okay, so that's the point. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, this was on my spirit to put this out. Lord willing, this is edifying to you sincere brothers, as well as you few sisters, man. Stay strong. Keep fighting, man. We're almost out of here. So with that, I'm going to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Hakwadash. The honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Honors and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing his word in true sincerity. Shalom.